Hello, hopefully by the end of this video we'll get everything wrapped up. In this video what we're going to do is just make sure that our sliding interacts properly with our stretching and our pinning. So the first thing that we'll need to do is introduce a new variable in terms of an expression, which will allow us to slide the elbow all the way back and all the way forward if the chain is stretched. And that's what this is saying here. So our stretch distance, which we have already created in the scene, is the distance between the upper arm locator and the soft blend locator, which is the parent of the IK handle. And if that distance is greater than the chain length, then we're going to pass that distance into our slide definition, and then it's going to be used in our slide calculations. However, if it's less than or equal to the chain length, then we're just going to pass the chain length into our slide calculations, and that will be the same as up here, because now we have chain len and chain len. That will just be the same. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take the stretch dist into the node graph, and we'll set it up so we have this times 1 divided by root scale stuff, and we'll make sure that it's put into a condition so that this is the first term, second term, the color if true, and color if false. So I'll just get my node editor, and I made a bookmark for our joint graph. So I'm just going to move some of these joints, some of these nodes I should say. So this is the graph for our pinning. So I'll just move this down. These nodes here contribute to this section here, so I'll just move them down, and I'll move them over here. And this is really where we're doing our sliding. So this is the condition here, which is our slide. So I'll move these down, and I'll move this up just so everything's spaced out a bit more. And I have display shapes on, so I can get my stretch dist, place it in the scene, get a multiply divide node, distance into 1x. Again, here is where we're doing the 1 divided by the root dot scale x, so output of x. Now we can get a condition. So we want the chain length if it's false, and the chain length in the second term. And we want what we've just created in the first term, and if it's true. So it's greater than, remember. So 7 and 7. Output x into the first term, output x into the color if true. And now all we want to do is go around and just replace wherever we had the chain len, we want that to replace that with our newly created condition. And this is where we have to do it here. You can see we have the 7 here, and that's the chain length. So we'll just say condition out color R, input 1x, and also down here as well, 7 is a chain length, out color R, input 1x. Just move this back so it's a bit more obvious where it's going, I guess. Something like that. Minimize the node editor. You can see we have a stretch of 1 and a soft of 0.2. Move out, and now we can slide the elbow all the way back and all the way forward. So that's now working properly. Now what we need to work on is getting the slide to properly interact with our pinning. And the light blue text means that an attribute definition has been brought down, because now the attribute definition is dependent on the slide attribute, and we've just defined that here. That's what we're defining here. So obviously the pin has to be defined afterwards. And this is quite simple. All we need to do is create a plus minus average node and make sure that for the upper arm we have 3 plus our slide in the color if false, and 3 plus our slide in the second term. And for our wrist we have 4 minus slide in our color if false, and 4 minus slide in our second term. So like I mentioned, here is our pinning for the lower arm. So I'll just select this node here and just duplicate that and just resize it so it's not so large. So the first one we want to be 3, and we'll get the output of our sliding, which I mentioned was this. Output color R to the second term. Output of that into the second term here, and into the color if false. So we'll do the same down here as well. I'll just duplicate that, and now we want this to be 4 up here, which is the bone length, and this one has to be the negative slide. So we'll just go to the attribute editor and change this to subtract. There we go. So now we have, for the wrist, 4 minus slide, and now we need to put that into color if false and the second term. And you'll be pleased to hear that that will be the end of everything. Okay, this time I'll just rearrange the graph, minimize this, turn off our pinning to 1. Everything works just as before. Take our slide down, and now we can move the elbow so it's pinned lower down. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully you're able to follow along. Hopefully I didn't go too slowly or too quickly. And thank you for watching. Thanks.